Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Chris Boyd says he doesn't think an Old Firm win will save Ronny Deilor's job at Celtic. We're going to be looking at the semi-final draw in full. Not only Celtic against Rangers, but Hibs or Inverness against Dundee United. And it's a double celebration for Dundee United with the manager and player of the month. We'll also discuss Dave King's statement, just over a year in charge, and some good results over 6 months for the Ibrox team. Alan Rough is alongside me. Peter Martin, our Bootroom guest, is former Rangers player Gordon Smith, and delighted to have him with us. So, speaking today, of course, ahead of the Old Firm clash, we had two former Old Firm players. We're going to hear from Chris Boyd and Scott McDonald shortly, but first of all, Ruffy, your reaction to the draw?
Yeah, I said at the weekend that was the draw I was looking for. I'd preferred the semi-final rather than the final. That's something that we've all missed, and as I said, that when the draw was made, it would be see who would be first to start shouting for the rooftops of what they were going to do, and it was Lee Wallace for me right across the papers, and bring it on. And I think that's what we're all saying, you know, bring it on. We've missed it so much.
Yep. If you could gauge who will feel better, Gordon Smith, going into this one, who do you think?
Well, at the moment, I mean, the game's a month away to a degree, so a lot can happen in a month. But I think Rangers, by almost sealing the league championship in the last few weeks there, with Hibs faltering and getting a 14-point lead, and now beating a team who are, you know, top 6 Premier team very comfortably, and with a very, very good performance. I think Rangers will be really looking forward to it now, because I think they will have a bit more confidence going into this game, thinking if they can handle Dundee the way they did, then they can handle a semi-final against Celtic.
Yep, I was impressed, Ruffy, with Rangers and their performance against Dundee. You know, some people might suggest, oh, Dundee weren't as good as they should have been, but I think that was more down to the performance of Rangers.
No, I don't think you can take any away for Rangers. It was an accomplished performance. There were good goals, they were well on top, and they were far better side on the day, you know. But it's ironic that just before that, the 2 games before that, you know, we were talking about Rangers needing 5 and 6 players to compete in the SPFL, but one game just changed all that.
Yeah, might have changed it for you, Ruffy. It certainly didn't change it for me, Gordon, because I think they still need 5 or 6 players when they go up.
I think they'll need to strengthen the squad, definitely. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But Ruffy's right in respect of if you're gauging your players, and maybe they gauged them before in the St Johnstone game, and 1 or 2 were discounted as saying, well, they're not going to be maybe good enough for the Premier League. Then they played Kilmarnock, and it was a little bit better. But then against Dundee yesterday, it was a whole, and Saturday, it was a whole different story. Now, one of the aspects of it, and I mentioned this in the programme we had, looking at it on Saturday, was the fact that, you know, Dundee came out and attacked. Every game I've seen Rangers having to play in the Championship this year, the opposition just sit in, and it means that there's no space to get in behind them. They have to keep knocking the ball about, trying to create openings with so many players blocking it on the edge of their box. Dundee had a go on Saturday, and maybe that is a little sign that Rangers are a bit more comfortable playing against a team that play a system that's more open and give them a bit more space. So if it's more against a Premiership team who are going to have a go at Rangers, it might actually make Rangers players play better and show exactly what they can do should Rangers be a Premiership side. So maybe the manager might be looking at 1 or 2 of the players now and thinking, well, he proved on Saturday that actually maybe he can play against better level of opposition. Yeah,
I'm sure Paul Hartley will be thinking also, Ruffy, left backs don't try and dribble the ball out in the first 14 seconds of the match. Let's look at that other game that prompted us to start talking about the Old Firm showdown. And of course, Celtic dispatched Morton out of the competition in front of less than 15,000 fans.
Yeah, I think again, you know, it's what Ronny Deilor has been saying most of the year. They can't put 90 minutes together. They certainly put 45 minutes together. It was good, good tempo at the game. First goal was given to them, but the second half was poor. And you would expect with 45 minutes, that level of performance, you would be able to take that into the second half and really go for the jugular, but they never did it, and I think that's the worrying problem for them.
You're absolutely right. That takes away from Celtic teams of the past. When Celtic teams of the past, if they got 3-0 up like that, they would go out to try and destroy you, wouldn't they? They were going out to score maybe another 3-4 goals second half, get the crowd right behind them, even just to try and show to the fans who didn't turn up they'd made a mistake not by going along on Saturday, but on Sunday. But the thing about it is that was, you're absolutely right, they just dropped off a level, and you're thinking, why do that when you're trying to show the fans that, you know, that we're actually, we can recover from this poor spell we're in. We are a better team than a lot of people are saying. They didn't do it.
Yeah, well, I did read that Ronny Deila mentioned that was a victory that will go some way to restoring a bit of faith from the fans to the manager. I'm not too sure too many people would buy into it. Chris Boyd was speaking today ahead of that Old Firm showdown. As Gordon mentioned, it's a month away. But the former Rangers striker reckons that even an Old Firm win won't save the Celtic manager's job.
You know, if they win or lose the game, you know, if they win, it might paper over the cracks for a few weeks. But you know, the Celtic fans are the ones that I know anyway are not happy the way they've been playing. They're not happy with things that are going on connected with the club. You know, and I don't expect anything, you know, in a one-off game to change that. You know, I think a lot of them have made up their mind already, and you know, I think the Celtic board. You know, if Celtic are playing in front of 15,000 in the quarterfinals of a cup, I think the alarm bells will be ringing now.
Yeah, what do you make of that? I mean, quite unusual for a player to be so forthright in his opinion on it, but has he got a point?
I think he's got a point to a certain extent. What surprised me is I didn't know he went out with a lot of Celtic fans. You know, his pals that he was talking about who'd followed. But no, I think he's got a point, but the board will have made their mind up. It's all about Europe. You know, it's all about do they think that Ronny Deila can get them into the Champions League group stage, and that's what it's all about. But beating Rangers would get the fans on side.
Here's a good question, Gordon Smith. Do you think Ronny Deila will be in charge for this match?
Yeah, I think he'll still be in charge by the time this game comes about. Yeah, I do. I think it's a month away. I don't see them making a change at this stage unless the league form, you know, more or less continue the way it is. I don't know if it will. We'll wait and see if it does, they do get a lift from that performance yesterday. But I think that he'll still be in charge by the time the Rangers game comes around. Yeah.
Yeah. Scott McDowall maybe not quite as scathing in his assessment of this match. I think his words of wisdom were keep calm and carry on regardless.
Do you know what? I think it is an advantage, you know, for Celtic that they have got a lot more experience in that changing room, and yeah, it's just important you don't become that rabbit in the headlight. You know, come Old Firm Derby Day. I can remember my first game getting involved with Alan McGregor, and you know, at a corner, and there was only like 2 minutes in the game, and I got booked, and I was like, oh, here we go. You know, I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, it's important to keep calm and keep cool out there, and I'm sure that will be the message from the likes of Kenny Miller and others that have experienced that Old Firm before.
Yep, but it's important to keep calm. Do you remember your first one, Gordon? Were you calm in it?
I was pretty calm. Yeah, I was excited about it. I think that there's no doubt about it that, you know, Old Firm games are something special. I remember that the physiotherapist Tommy Craig told me to go out and experience the atmosphere before or out for the game, so it just didn't hit me as I went out. Because in those days you never had a warm-up. Yeah. You went straight out on the park about 5 minutes before kick-off, so he told me to go out to the edge of the tunnel and experience it, which I did. But I felt it was great. I mean, I must be honest, I loved Old Firm games. And anybody who says they're worried or nervous or anything like that is wrong, because see, if you're a footballer, that's the games you want to play in. Yeah, absolutely. What about the other half, Ruffy? Hibs or Inverness against Dundee United?
Yeah, I think Hibs will be ruined letting Inverness get that goal. You know, I think the game was there to be won. The first half, again, they played particularly well, you know, and chances left, right and centre. But I have to say, I thought the last 20-25 minutes they looked really tired. They looked really tired, as if all these pressured games had got caught up in them. So it remains to be seen whether they can lift it another for the replay. I'll give you credit, you did tip a draw with Hibs to win the replay on Saturday. You did say that, didn't you? Yeah. It's not come through yet. They've still to win the replay.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll give you half credit at the moment. We'll wait and see what happens. But again, good double for Dundee United. Manager of the month, Mixu Paatelainen. Player of the month, Paul Payton.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was an amazing scoreline. I mean, down 2-1 against a team, albeit a team that had beaten 3-0 recently in a league game, but you'd have thought that would have been given a big incentive to Ross County to say we're not going to let that happen again. But you know, 2-1 up, and against 10 men and go on and win the game. Dundee United, you've got to give them credit. They are on a fight back at the moment, and mixed with Pat Linen, I know you disagree with me on Saturday, but if he keeps Dundee United up, could be manager of the season.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think we disagree with you on that, but nevertheless, if he does, one person in this studio will be the happiest man of all. Ruffy, getting ready for a wee meal out if United escape the drop. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. Gordon Smith is our boot room guest. We've been having a great little argument in the break there. Ruffy, you've thrown something out there that got Gordon and myself talking, and we decided to have a three-way vote. You might as well tell everybody what you started.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing in the pubs that the supporters like to chat about, and the thing that comes up quite a lot of times in these games is man for man, who's got the better side. How many players would get into a select side, put it that way, of
Rangers and Celtic.
Yeah.
How many did you come up with?
I come up with 9 Celtic and 2 Rangers.
Yeah. It was something I think we debated long and hard, Gordon. I think maybe 2, possibly 3 at Rangers that might, cause a bit of debate.
I was about 7. I was 7-4, I think, in my betting at the moment, in terms of who I thought was the would be challenging and get the place. But I think the general thing, it was 9-2 for both the final vote, because you voted against me.
It'd be good to throw it there. So, I mean, people would argue who my 9-2 was. I'm sure people would argue.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, what we'll do is we'll put it up, and you can check it out on Twitter and Facebook, and also on peterandruffy.com, and give us your view. How many players would get in the select between Rangers and Celtic? Well worth a little chat about, and give us your thoughts on it as well ahead of that game next month. Just finishing off on the Rangers situation, Dave King's come out and said that there will be players brought in the summer. There's money available for the manager. They've released their 6 months financial results. Revenue up, it's 11 million, up 20%. Operating costs 11.8 million, down 15.7%, and the overall loss was 288,000, and interest-free funds provided by shareholders stands at 9.25 million. But nevertheless, in the right direction. And Dave King himself has said Scottish football has suffered without Rangers, especially, of course, in the Premiership, and was very complimentary about Mark Warburton and what he's doing for Rangers as a manager, but again, critical of that deal with Sports Direct.
Yeah, well, he must be very happy about how things are going. I mean, because Rangers last season, they had a fight on their hands. They just got into the playoffs and had to try and get up there and didn't work out. Now at the moment it's looking like Rangers are going to automatically be going up into the Premier League, and the Premiership's a big thing to have Rangers back in there. Look forward to again having the derbies, because although a lot of people, a lot of fans around the world, and I can sympathise with them, they think, well, all the attention goes to Rangers Celtic, but that is the big game. That's what makes Scottish football famous around the world. It's the one game everybody knows about, the big derby game everybody talks about and like to see. So it'll be good if they're back in the division. It'll also help crowds-wise. I think even including Celtic. I think Celtic fans will get back to see them, because they need that rivalry, I think, as well, in order to turn up and watch their team. So Rangers have been getting good crowds over the years, despite the fact they've been down lower divisions. They have helped out the teams in the lower divisions, because the gate money that they've all received has been a big help to them financially. So I think, look forward to it. And as I say, hopefully, if he does spend some money, he will be able to look at it, him and the manager will be able to look at it and decide exactly what sort of money needs spent in order that Rangers can go back in the Premier League, not only just be there, but actually challenge.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, Ruffy, the last time Rangers were in the Premier League, you and me we didn't hang about together.
Is it that long? It feels longer.
It does feel longer, I have to tell you. Now, let's look at some of the other results over the weekend, especially in the league. I'm bemused by the person who hired a plane and had a go at Robbie Nielsen across Tynecastle. They defeated Partick Thistle by a goal to nil, Ruffy, but I mean, they're going to finish third. What more do you want in the first season back?
Yeah, I can't get my head around that at all. I don't think there's anything come out of Hearts that's been negative at all. On the park, supporters have been magnificent. The manager has done what he had to do.
Yeah.
And I think they're well ahead of anything anybody expected. So I'd love to know who it was up in that plane.
I don't think it had any reaction at all from the support, because my understanding is that the support were chanting his name, and when they saw it, so they're right behind Robbie Neilson. I think that, you know, a manager, 2 years in the game as a manager of a team, and gets promotion, automatic promotion so comfortably last season. This season he's got them up in third place, looking for a European spot. How can you possibly criticise the guy?
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. And I know Robbie's been on the programme before. Possibly, just on a nitpicking here, the plane did have the banner "No Style." It could only be about the cardigans. Nothing else that comes to mind. What about the other one? 7 years waiting for a Lanarkshire derby win at New Douglas Park, and finally Mark McGee delivers it.
Yeah, and I think we all spoke on Saturday how important this game was going to be, because whoever lost it, they were going to get tagged by a team on free fall, and certainly it now falls on Hamilton with that record that they've got. They need to win something very, very quickly. But you know, I think we all think that Motherwell's got far too much experience in that side to fall into the same situation they were in the last time.
Well, there's very little in points between the teams in that area now, and Motherwell are on the curve of being either, you know, a top 6 team as well. I mean, you see, there's Dundee and Ross County are above them, but just only in goal difference and at 1 point, I think it is. So Motherwell, you know, if they can put a little run together, but that was a significant win for them to go to Hamilton, a derby game. They hadn't been doing so well there, and get the points. Were big points in it, but it puts Hamilton into that area, I think, as well, because that was the game in hand they had. You know, they've now got the same games as Kilmarnock. They've got a 2-point lead over Kilmarnock, but there's going to be a real fight on there if Dundee United can get things going. And the next game, I think, is a very interesting one. Dundee United are playing Motherwell in their next match, so for both teams, if Motherwell win that one, they will be clear, and both Hamilton and Kilmarnock will want Motherwell to win that match. Yeah,
I'm tipping Motherwell top 6, Ruffy. Any surprise on that?
No, I think it's so close, as Gordon said there. You know, 2 wins takes you into that. You know, same as Partick Thistle. Partick Thistle won their games in hand. They'll not be far away from it either.
I'm only saying that because I know Mark McGee's on the programme tomorrow, Ruffy. You've got to try and load the bases and be careful when your guests are coming on. But here's how the results panned out at the weekend. If you want to have a look, there it is. Motherwell with that win at New Douglas Park against Hamilton. Hearts defeating Partick Thistle in the Championship. Falkirk with that win over Alloa. Livingston beating Dumbarton, and it was a 7-goal thriller. Wraith Rovers coming out on top, but Falkirk suddenly now, Ruffy, in the Championship in 2nd place.
Yep, and again, Falkirk, like Hearts, I think everybody deserves credit there. Supporters, people behind the scenes, the manager, the players. To get them to where they are is absolutely fantastic for a club like that, a very, very well organised club, and it's even more incredible that they still have to sell players and still they're 2nd top of the league, you know, and it's all credit to everybody there.
Yep, absolutely. Here's some of the results from the other divisions, just in case you missed them. League One, over the course of Saturday, there was a good win there for Dunfermline. Airdrieonians with a 3-1 win, and you couldn't split them between Albion Rovers and Peterhead. What about League Two? Let's have a look at League Two to see how it all panned out there. And again, 6 goals. Annan Athletic, Jim Chapman must have thought he'd won it, but Barry Ferguson's team fighting back. In the end, it was a share of the spoils there, and Queen's Park couldn't get the win over Berwick Rangers. It's certainly tight in League Two as well. Just before we go, a couple of points. Partick Thistle against Aberdeen, Ruffy. Again, it's a great chance for Aberdeen to put the pressure on Celtic.
Yep, I have to say that Aberdeen have, over the last couple of years, have had a good record against Partick Thistle. Partick just haven't been able to go on the end of a win. So again, is it a midweek game? Yeah. I always think midweek games throw up funny results.
Don't understand it, Gordon.
Yeah, I do.
Footballers who don't like playing on a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
No, I don't understand it either.
Yeah, well, I'll show you some results in midweek that you would go, oh, how did that happen?
and they didn't happen on a Saturday. Yeah. Only your logic on that, Ruffy, I have to say. Final point, and one result that was screaming out at me there, and of course brought about a real amount of concern was the hospitalisation of Eddie Valecki-Black, the Airdrieonians manager. And I think from everyone on the football show, we've had Eddie on more than a few occasions. I think we wish him a speedy recovery, and let's hope he gets back in the dugout managing Airdrie. He's worked his wonders there. He was a good manager at Glasgow City as well, Gordon.
Yeah, he did a great job at Glasgow City. He made them such a successful team and got himself then into the men's game. And at Airdrie, he's got them up there challenging. They're just out the playoff place. But I'm like you. I wish him all the very best. Hope he can recover quickly.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's waited so long to get into the professional ranks, and there he is, and he just shows you how much he puts into the game, and it's just suffered from it.
Yep, thanks to Ruffy and Gordon Smith. Best wishes to Eddie Valecki-Black. Join us if you can tomorrow on The Football Show. We'll have Mark McGee, the Motherwell manager, as our guest. Thanks for watching. Good night.